Two people got up when you said that. Well, good morning, and thank you for coming, and welcome to the Foundation for Maine's Community Colleges. You can see we have the best view in Maine, and it's for such a good cause that we represent. I'm Jock McKernan, for those of you I don't know, and I chair the Foundation for Maine's Community Colleges, and we are incredibly excited about our announcement here today. We have some speakers who are going to talk about it. Our Governor Janet Mills is here. We also have the chair of the board of the Harold Alfond Foundation, Greg Powell, here, and last but not least, the one you all know, we have the president of the Maine Community College System, Dave Dagler. Our foundation is focused on supporting and helping raise funds for the community college's mission of educating and training Maine's workforce. Now, I've spent over 30 years working on education and training issues from when I was governor back in the 80s and 90s. Some of you are old enough to remember that. But it is such an important activity for all of us. I've chaired this foundation since its founding in 2009. And we've made wonderful progress, and we're here today to make an announcement that we think is going to be incredibly important to our state and the way we impact our workforce and develop the kind of workers that we need in our state. Before we begin, let me just mention that we're all challenged with COVID, and if you're wondering why we're outdoors on this beautiful Maine October day, it is because of COVID. We're following all of FMCC's campus COVID protocols, and if you look around, you'll see we invited a very small crowd for in-person attendance at this announcement, and we've limited it to people who actually were involved in the development of the initiative. And we are, however, as you see in the back of the room, streaming the event to over 500 others who are in the community college network, so we feel great about that. So let's talk about why we're here. As we're all aware, these are challenging times all across the nation, and in Maine it is no exception. What bothers many of us so much is that we face a confluence of Maine people, and this is, I think, important. It's Maine people being left out of a changing economy at the same time that we have employers who need talent. And something has to be done about this, but the problem is so big that it can't be done in individual efforts. We think that it really takes what we've talked about for years, and that is a public-private partnership to really have an impact. And in this instance, that public-private partnership is federal and state funding and philanthropies using their resources and private sector support. That is the partnership that is going to address these challenges that we all face. Understanding that, the foundation and the community colleges have been working on this new initiative we're going to be announcing in a few minutes with one of our longtime great partners, the Harold Alfond Foundation. So today you're going to hear about this new approach as we develop a workforce development system that is going to bridge that gap that I talked about earlier between those seeking good paying jobs and employers looking for more skilled workers. And it really, I think, is going to be a day that we're going to remember years, if not decades from now, for what we're going to be setting up. So to tell us more about the grant that really allowed us to launch this this initiative, we're going to have Greg Powell, who, as I said, is the chair of the board of the Harold Alfond Foundation, make some comments about their involvement in this. But first, let me just make a comment about Greg, because I've worked with him on a number of projects for over a decade now. And I truly believe that there is no one in our state who is more committed to opportunities for a brighter future for Maine people than Greg. And fortunately for us, and the position he holds, he actually has a chance to do something about that. And so we want to just thank Greg, and especially we want to thank the board of the Harold Alfond Foundation. Some of the members are here today for all that they do. I mean, they literally generously support not only the community college system, but I would say they support every major and potentially transformative education and economic development initiative that we have in this state. And we are just so much better off for the good that they do and have been doing for so many years. So it's my pleasure to welcome Greg to the podium and hear his remarks.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Governor McKernan, for those kind words. Governor Mills, President Dagler, President Fitzsimmons, there at the back of the tent, holding us all together. It's wonderful to be here with you and live streaming too. But before I get into the substance of my remarks, I just would like to remark on this wonderful display of bipartisanship we have here with us this morning. Two governors, one Democrat, the other Republican, apparently in good spirits together. And, you know, the foundation is by its nature bipartisan. We are looking for teamwork, as I'll speak to in a few moments. But I have to tell you, Jock, that the current governor has it up on you, okay? The current governor, like Tom Brady, is setting records. The first, of course, is that she is the first woman governor in our state's history. And the second is that far and away, this governor is been more tested than any other governor we've ever had for COVID. So there you go, some bipartisan remarks here for you this morning. So, but on the behalf of the Harold Alfond Foundation, I'd like to share some thoughts on the vital importance of Maine's community college system to Maine's future and to make an announcement. Harkening back to our founder, Harold Alfond envisioned a future where all Mainers could thrive from birth through career. He thought that quality, relevant, and accessible education for all people, not just some, is as vital to enriching lives and community as it is to a growing and prosperous economy. The two go hand in hand. Today, in the wake of a pandemic and the challenges of wealth and income inequality upon us, Harold's Foundation is committed to this vision as never before. And as never before, we remain true to Harold's belief that challenges are best overcome through partnership and teamwork. So this morning, we are here to launch an unprecedented partnership between and among Maine's community college system, employers, workers, private businesses, and our state government, all sharing this vision. And we're all on a mission to enhance the skills and opportunity of unemployed and underemployed Mainers so needed by our economy. Our state has faced profound economic challenges for many years, long before the pandemic. These challenges have impacted the most vulnerable among us. Workers and their families whose real incomes have remained stagnant for decades. While evidence of improvement emerged just before the pandemic set us back once more. At the Foundation, we have seen these challenges and looked to do our part to combat them through grant making to educational institutions. As we looked for ways to help, we realized that the promise and importance of elevating educational opportunity for underemployed and unemployed Mainers could not be greater. These folks are so important to our state and deserve the opportunity America promises all our people. With that in mind, we looked for great partners. We looked for partners who shared our vision and mission to help. We saw that there was and is no educational institution better positioned than the Maine Community College System to enhance the skills of underemployed and unemployed Mainers, and to do so by building close relationships with employers who need skilled workers to grow their businesses. So in 2018, before the pandemic, we invested $3.6 billion with the community college system. Our grant was to build the infrastructure for and strengthen the rollout of new statewide short-term skills building programs for Maine workers. These programs provided Mainers the chance to earn targeted industry-specific skills that lead directly to employment or job advancement, all in a condensed time frame at low cost. As this work unfolded, the pandemic wave hit, and our community college system rose to meet the challenges of COVID-19. The system quickly saw that demand for accessible, short-term, job-relevant training programs went through the roof. With the help of our grant, employers and government leaders, the system's quality centers more than doubled the number of people in training programs and tripled the number of competency badges awarded to more than 7,600 learners. Separately, over 12,000 Mainers earned competency badges in COVID readiness. And today, some 70 micro-credentials are offered, many of which support industry-recognized certifications in fields like healthcare, IT, and construction. In each case, business partners helped to inform the programming and provided a direct connection to jobs for participating workers. All of this occurred on top of traditional student enrollment at the system level, system-wide, I should say, of nearly 16,000 learners. Last year, the foundation announced new grant investments in our state at a dollar level unprecedented in the foundation's history. All of these strategically designed to improve the well-being and prosperity of Maine and its people. All designed to say, we are going to come out of this pandemic bigger, better, and more prosperous than ever before. Today, we continue our efforts to invest in Maine's future by promoting and funding still deeper partnerships between employers and educational institutions, where each supports the other with effort and money. Teamwork, Harold Alfond would call this. So when we saw what the community college system is doing and has done with our first grant, and Dave and Fitz came to us with plans to significantly expand the breadth and depth of their workforce training efforts, it was time to double down on our community college investment. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a transformative moment. It's a great moment. It's a super moment. It's a moment of opportunity in the history of our state and its future. We are on the cusp of defeating a pandemic that has ravaged segments of our labor force and widened economic disparities. We have a skills gap in our state and an aging population that calls out for workforce skills to be improved so that we can take on the great opportunities in this global economy. Thanks to our governor and legislators, we have an enormous influx of COVID recovery dollars to help our workforce rebound. The health and beauty of Maine has become ever more obvious, ever more attractive as the lure of urban, densely populated states has waned. More people with needed skills are moving to our state as remote work has proven to work. And as divisiveness plagues the national scene here in Maine, our people, our educational institutions, and our employers and our workers are united in their determination to make things better. And best of all, and why we're here this morning, Maine's community college system has stepped up and demonstrated an extraordinary ability to bring opportunity and needed skills to Maine's workforce and employers. What a combination, what a moment. Simply put, the time is now to invest in the future and the power of our community college system. To this end, on behalf of the Harold Alfond Foundation, we are delighted to announce an additional grant, our biggest ever, to Maine's community college system in the amount of $15.5 million. Now for the details, folks. Governor Mills.
Governor just said, I can top that. Greg, thanks again for all that you've done for the community colleges and for so many education and economic development challenges that the state faces. You know, I mentioned earlier that it's really the creation of a new virtual center that Dave is going to talk about for the community colleges and our business partners that is truly unique in its collaborative nature. And that is really the pooling of public and private resources. And as Greg said, I mean, this year, thanks to the leadership of Governor Mills and her utilization of those federal funds, and I won't steal her thunder, some of you know how much it is, but it is staggering, and we appreciate greatly our ability to truly grow this virtual center and this connection that we have between educators and the business community, thanks to the support from the governor. And let me just make a couple of comments about the governor, because of Olympia's and my long tenure in public service in Maine. We've known the governor and her family for decades. Don't worry, I'm not going to say how many. You know, we've known her as a friend, as a legislator, as a lawyer, as the Attorney General, and as Greg said, the first woman governor of Maine. I already had that in my notes, Greg, before you said it, because I couldn't go home without being able to tell Olympia that I had said that. She just has a long and illustrious career in public service. She's committed to the people of Maine and has demonstrated that over the years. And Dave Dagler is going to tell you after the governor speaks about how exceedingly generous she has been in supporting the vital mission of the community colleges that provides so much opportunity to so many people in our state. So we couldn't be happier to have the governor with us today, especially to talk about her continuing support and the true difference that she's making in the use of these federal funds and what that's going to mean for the future of Maine. So, Governor, we appreciate your being here, and I'll turn the podium over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jock, and thank you, Greg, and thank you, Dave. What a collaboration. I keep thinking when you say I'm the first governor, I want to say I'm the first governor from Franklin County, because that is equally true, and I'm proud of that too. Our little county is growing. So I start my day-to-day talking with you about workforce. Later on, I will end the day talking with the U.S. Department of Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, who's visiting Maine, and I will be talking about workforce. It is that high a priority on our agenda. And I recall that earlier this year, I appeared with President Dagler at the Central Maine Community College in Auburn to talk about why making investments in Maine's community college system through the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan would be critical to our economic recovery from the pandemic. Maine is in constant competition with other states and other countries to build and retain a talented workforce to fill the needs of emerging industries shaped by new technology. And like many states around the country, we're struggling with workforce challenges in nearly all sectors. Not a day goes by but what we don't get a message from some employers saying, I can't find anybody to work this job, take this job. And equally from people wanting to work but who can't find childcare, or whose classroom is closed for the week and has to stay home and take care of the kids, or who can't find transportation or other means of accessing a job. It has been a long-standing issue here in Maine, decades long, in fact, but it's only been made worse by the pandemic, with businesses of all sorts and all sizes looking for people to take good-paying jobs. I was at a bat manufacturing plant a week and a half ago, and they're trying to fill 24 jobs. I think they've got 2/3 of them filled. but they can't compete with the McDonald's down the road that's advertising $14, $15 an hour plus benefits. Who knew? But anyway, not to complain about the fast food industry, but the competition is out there. And the community college system, along with career and technical education centers, adult learning centers, and our universities are all a big part of the answer. Indeed, they're the foundation of our competitiveness and our future success. If we want not only to recover from COVID-19 pandemic, but to keep Maine competitive, to create a skilled workforce, and to craft a new, more diverse economy that attracts businesses and empowers everyone to make a good living, then we have to invest in our people and in our public education system. That's why the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan, which is my proposal, my actual plan now for investing federal funds from the American Rescue Plan, including $35 million. That's why this fund includes $35 million to advance programs at the Maine Community College System. And I will say right at the outset, we are ahead of nearly all other states in investing this money. Why? Because Heather Johnson and her crew, her team, already put together a 10-year economic plan for Maine. And that, in turn, became part of the economic recovery plan that Josh Broder and Lori LaChance and others put together a year ago. And that, in turn, was folded into our legislative proposal to invest nearly $1.1 billion in new federal funds in the state of Maine, not to give handouts or subsidies, but to invest in infrastructure and make sure that people had the ability to attain good-paying jobs long into the future. Sustainable investments, that's what it's about. And $35 million for the community colleges is a big part of that. I was proud to sign this bill into law, the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan this summer, with support from the legislature. And now I'm honored to join, once again, President Dagler, as well as Governor McKernan and Greg Powell at the Southern Maine Community College to celebrate the result of that investment. Using private and public funds, this new workforce development initiative will make it easier for Maine people to access training by bringing together various aspects of our adult education system into a single, logical, and accessible online platform. By targeting training to the unemployed and the underemployed in our state, to employed workers who need more training to adapt to changing industries, and to those who have some higher education but no degree or actual credentials, this initiative will address one of our top workforce challenges. The infusion of $35 million in federal funds from the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan, along with the generous investment from the Harold Alfond Foundation, will allow the Maine Community College System to provide free training to 3,800 healthcare workers, 1,400 clean energy workers, 1,200 tradespeople, 900 manufacturing employees, 500 hospitality workers, 500 educators, and thank you for the teaching facilitator program that you've stood up to help the schools stay open, and 300 computer technicians. That kind of feeds into the Rue Institute and a lot of other things going on in Maine here too. These industries are at the heart of our post-pandemic economic recovery. I'm also pleased to see that this initiative will focus on new pathways for short-term credentials to allow Maine people to gain the skills as they need them, and that it will work with businesses to tailor programs to their specific training needs, and that it will provide rural residents, like those in Franklin County, with free training to pursue remote work opportunities. That, along with the Maine Connectivity Authority, is going to make connections and broadband happen all across the state of Maine. The 24,000 Maine people who will be trained by this initiative over the next 4 years are at the foundation of our future. Funded by the Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan and the Harold Alfond Foundation, it is an exceptional example of how public and private partnerships can make long overdue investments in our community college system to attract and grow talent and to fill good-paying jobs in thriving industries across Maine. I think when Greg was talking, I thought about Harold Alfond, whom I didn't know personally, this uncommon man, as he was referred to. I think from being a high school athlete to an odd shoe boy in Kennebunk to a factory superintendent, to the founder of an international branded shoe line with log cabin style outlet stores. Before the term innovation was ever invented, he was innovative, clearly. And starting the first private foundation in the state of Maine, Harold Alfond, I think personally and professionally, set the bar for work ethic, for ingenuity, for family values, for charity and good works that offer always a helping hand and not a handout, and for the love, the great deep love of a state that we too are proud to call home. May his legacy, combined with these other initiatives, and his gifts, like the one today, inspire thousands more to live up to those values across the state of Maine. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Listening to the governor's comments about Harold Alfond just reminded me, I should have said this when I was talking, excuse me, about the Harold Alfond Foundation. One of the last times that Olympia and I had dinner with Harold and Bibby, we were talking before dinner, and he said, "Oh, I want to show you something." And so we went into his den, and he took out a big scrapbook that he had printed. And it was a scrapbook of all of the philanthropy that he had engaged in and all of the major donations that he had made for our state. And on every one of the covers of all this stack of books that he had there was the name of one of his grandchildren, to have them understand the importance of giving back. And that's how dedicated he has always been to helping Maine people. And I know that Greg and the board feel that very strongly, and they certainly have carried out his wishes in an amazing way. But Governor, we want to just thank you for being here to announce the money that we've also received, because that $35 million is just enormous for the community colleges. And you think about it, we're talking about $50 million that we are now going to be able to put to work in this public-private partnership that is going to transform opportunities for Maine people. And Governor, thanks to your leadership, and we appreciate your doing that. Well, we have one final speaker. As I said, last but not least, saving the best for last. We are going to introduce the person who's actually going to bring this historic investment to life. And I just want to make a quick comment about Dave. As you know, he's the president of the Maine Community College System. I've worked with Dave ever since I became chair of this foundation over 10 years ago. And Dave was the chief financial officer at the time of the Maine Community College System. He's since been promoted to be president, and I'm sure when he accepted that promotion, he never expected to be faced with a challenge as significant as the COVID pandemic. Yet I have to tell you, I have been so impressed with the way he has handled an enormous logistical challenge. When you think about leading 16,000 students from classroom to remote learning in a matter of months. And amazing tributes to the faculty who had to also make that major shift from classroom presenters to online facilitators with very limited training. And it's just a tribute to the talent that we have in our state, that they've all been able to do that and make such a difference for so many people who would have been left behind. You heard the governor talk about the people who've been trained just for COVID safety and the other kind of skills that are needed. And it wouldn't have happened without Dave's leadership. But what's impressed me just as much is and any of you who've run an organization know you have to focus on both the short term and the long term. With an unprecedented pandemic, Dave also kept his eye on where's the future going and what's the role of the community colleges. And it really is that ability that he had to make sure that we didn't lose track of something we've been working on for 2 years and bring today to fruition, and with this comprehensive and cohesive workforce development plan that's going to enormously help Maine people. So, Dave, we're forever in your debt, and we look forward to hearing how this is really going to work.
So, Governor McKernan, thank you very much for those very kind words. I appreciate it, and there are some people here who are really responsible for all that work. I'll mention that in a minute. But first, I have to start by thanking Greg and the Harold Alfond Foundation for this transformative gift. With that gift, we will transform workforce development in this state forevermore. Governor Mills, your confidence in the Maine Community College System will provide new opportunities for tens of thousands of Mainers for generations to come. And it's true. Governor McKernan, the Foundation for Maine's Community Colleges, has just been a true supporter of Maine students, our students, and the programs they serve. And I thank you for that ongoing leadership and stewardship. It's really been wonderful to see. I can't leave this podium without thanking the many people in the Maine Community College System for all the work that has happened. You've worked tirelessly, and your tireless work has now been recognized. So thank you very much. There are too many rich stories, and Governor McKernan started with some of them. There are just too many rich stories for me to go into thanking each and every person. But there are two that I really have to call out. Dan, you've really led an incredible transformation and expansion of workforce development. And Janet, the transformation to online learning was at your hands. And now, your efforts to build career pathways have new traction. So thank you, and thank everyone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these historic investments will be combined with other grants and gifts, like the remote worker grant from Ascendium, and with our own workforce development funds and with industry funding. And they'll be put together in one center. That center, from this day forward, will be known as the Harold Alfond Center for the Advancement of Maine's Workforce. Combining all of these resources will put $60 million to work for Maine people, and it'll put all of our workforce development tools together in one place. But the Harold Alfond Center for the Advancement of Maine's Workforce has no walls. It's a virtual center. It will have a statewide presence, and it will build on the relationships that we have established with our business partners. The center is unlike any educational resource we are aware of. The center puts business partners in the driver's seat when it comes to workforce development. It all starts when we enter into a compact, a relationship. We have 80 of those compacts already. They're with business partners, and they're with trade associations who represent smaller businesses so that we get to the entire Maine economy. Those 80 compacts cover almost 100,000 of Maine's frontline workers. So we're starting with momentum. We're starting with momentum to build on your grand vision, Governor Mills, a vision for a better future for all Maine people. Please give me a moment to explain how this center will actually work. It all starts with our business partners. We'll engage them through 3 interconnected layers of workforce development. The first layer connects Mainers to new job opportunities. These are vacant jobs that are holding the economy back, but they're jobs that require skills. They're jobs in the healthcare sector in desperate need of replenishment. Jobs in the green economy where we need to energize a workforce to build a sustainable environment. Jobs in the hospitality sector. Hospitality is transforming itself as we emerge from the juggernaut of this pandemic. And in manufacturing, where we have a powerful opportunity to rebuild our manufacturing sector as the country grapples with supply chain issues. And in technology, where automation is really changing the very nature of the workplace. And of course, in our forests and along our seacoast, where Maine can take advantage of its natural resources. These investments will support workforce development efforts, and they're critical to our economy. But we recognize that we needed more. Maine needs to help businesses improve their productivity. We need to help businesses keep pace with the current economy and a business climate that is changing at breakneck speed. So the Harold Alfond Center for the Advancement of Maine Workforce will offer new tools to those businesses, our compact partners. The center can now advance career opportunities for people already in the workplace. We can build training and educational programs for a business's current employees. The business may need their employees to have new analytic skills or computational skills. They may need advanced technical skills. And the center will have the tools needed to support that advanced skill development. We also know that our workforce needs more than just training. They need the degrees and credentials that signal their true potential and strength. We now have a vehicle to work with our business partners, and we can build pathways for Maine people to earn credentials, and those are the credentials that they need to move ahead. Think of this as a bridge between short-term training and degree attainment. We'll build it with our business partners who have a shared interest in building a more comprehensive, a more cohesive workforce development system. In total, we will give 24,000 Mainers new opportunities, and through them, Maine businesses new opportunities to grow and prosper. Together, these investments will transform our workforce development efforts in an ongoing cycle of advancement through learning. And it's coming at a time when we are seeing incredible change in the employment landscape. These new tools and the practices that go with them will support a system of continuous workforce development from a person's first job through a lifetime of promotions and career advancement. We'll engage people in short-term training and continue to build their skills as they earn certificates, industry credentials, and college degrees. By working with business and industry partners, we can link training and education to career ladder opportunities. For example, we can train someone to become a certified nurse assistant and then continue their education and career development so that they can become a medical assistant and then move on. Or take the teacher facilitator program that Governor Mills talked about earlier. That was Governor Mills' idea. And we take a person entering the teacher facilitator program and give them 45 hours of pre-hire training. But then we work with them through experiential learning and additional classroom work, and they qualify to come into a school system as an ed tech. These new services will be as nimble and responsive as our pre-hire training. Now, you may ask how nimble and responsive our pre-hire training is. Well, when Mike Ballesteros of Puritan Medical called to say the world needed more COVID testing swabs, we had 300 people trained and ready in weeks. And that was just the beginning. In all, we trained 1,332 people as they expanded production. When Hospitality Maine called and said they needed to keep restaurant workers and innkeepers safe, they wanted to give their customers the confidence that they could eat in their restaurants and stay in their inns. We delivered with a badging program that certified 3,800 frontline workers as being COVID ready. Today's generous investments will expand opportunities and give Maine people an opportunity to get ahead. They do also fit in the 10-year economic plan. When building that plan, and Governor Mills, you know this, you agreed with this, Maine people said, we need to focus on talent. And from that, you look to build a post-pandemic future for Maine, and you invested $35 million in Maine's community colleges. To do what? To build talent. Now, with this Harold Alfond gift, we have what I expect will be the most powerful workforce and credential attainment engine in the country. Governor Mills, Greg, the entire Alfond board, Governor McKernan, the Foundation for Maine's Community Colleges, I thank you. We all thank you. Maine has a bigger, brighter future because of you. Now, today marks an important first step, but we have work to do, so let's get going. Thank you.
What we want to do now is have Dave sort of be the ringleader of answering any questions that anybody in the media has, and we can get started on that, and then we'll break when we're ready.
Okay. Any questions from anyone, media or otherwise? Yes, Kim.
What is your plan? You mentioned engaging with the business community, trade associations. How exactly are you going to engage with chambers of commerce? What's that program?
We do. We actually are very focused on chambers of commerce and the trade associations because that's our vehicle for addressing smaller employers who don't have the critical mass. And so we can and have assembled skills. Actually, our work through Hospitality Maine as a trade association is a perfect example where small employers have common skill sets. We did similar work with something that we called Yamaha University, but that was outboard motor repair people. But it was all small marine shops along the coast and in the Lakeland areas who all had common skills that they needed, and so we were able to combine those, train people, and then move them back out to their smaller employers. So the chambers, the trade associations are all key and important components. And that's the compact is actually how we bring them together. We develop that understanding, and then we go out and work on training and bringing the skills to Maine's small employers. Thank you, Kim. Back corner.
Just wondering what the timeline is for when people can start to access this training.
So some of the training has already started. Fun fact, the very foundation upon which Greg mentioned the first Alfond grant that helped us sort of rebuild and retool our workforce development programs, the core funding for that was actually the Maine Quality Center program. Now, here's a quiz. We're in class, right? Here's a quiz. Who was responsible for the development of the Maine Quality Center program? That legislation came into play under Governor McKernan. So when we say we're working together and we're building on our past for a better future, we have two governors who are seated here who are incredibly important to the workforce development efforts of the state of Maine. The $35 million will become available in 4 days, October 18th, based on the passage of that legislation. And so we are off and running. And if you have some skills that you need for your organization to be developed, Dan Bellier is sitting over here and he's ready to talk to you. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So, good question. I'm reminded that not everyone can hear the question. So this question is, what is the time span for which we would train and educate these 24,000 individuals? And it is basically over a 4-year period. So the Alfond grant starts almost immediately and runs for about 4 years. So thank you. So on an annualized basis, the question is how much of an expansion is this? And on an annualized basis, it's about a 5-fold expansion. very significant. Other questions? Okay, we're good to wrap up. If you have any other questions, you know how to get in touch with us. We can't leave here without thanking these three people for coming together and being such an important force to help support Maine. As we come out of the post-pandemic era and we move into a new economy, Maine is going to reposition itself for a very bright future. So thank you all.